Welcome back to Pick It Built. Let's finish these brakes and solve a few other gremlins so we can put them to the test. Alright guys, before we get started here, I want to show you guys a couple things. So I installed these brake lines on the front, and I just realized after reading one of the comments that there is a different length on these. You know, I wasn't paying close enough attention to that, and looking at it closely there, you can definitely see that one is longer than the other. And so it looks like I got one side right, and obviously the other side doesn't have the right length on it. So we're gonna have to go back and fit the longer ones in the front. Alright, make sure we got the long ones in the front and then the shorter ones in the rear. And that just allows for steering angles, stuff like that. Also, we have to bleed the brakes, and I picked up some Motul .4 racing brake fluid, and I've got one of these little pneumatic bleeder systems. Since I'm going to be doing this by myself, I won't have anybody helping me pump the brakes and that kind of stuff. We're going to check out this little tool and see how handy that becomes. Alright, let's get to work. Now that we have that brake line on, we can start putting some fluid in this system. Now, just a disclaimer for you guys, this is my very first brake fluid change. I have never done this before, so I'm gonna fumble through this, take you guys along for the ride. Any tips that you guys see, try not to cringe too badly watching, but leave some comments below. Anything that's helpful, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this process. Alright, let's get to work. So normally I would start with the furthest away, which would be the rear, but with the 280Z there's two reservoirs, so it's a separate system. So we're going to start with the front. Little tip that I've watched, I'm going to take this and empty it out about halfway into this pint jar, and that way when we're pouring into the reservoir, we're not having to pour with a full bottle here, and make it a little easier to pour so we're not spilling brake fluid all over the car. Alright guys, as I'm sucking that brake fluid through, I'm continuing to top this off. So as we've managed to pull a bunch of this old brake fluid out, and you can see it's very dingy compared to the new stuff, and so this thing's working pretty good. Let's see if we can tackle the back. See if you guys can see that. Definitely a lot of air in the lines, so let's keep pulling on this side as well. Alright guys, we got the brake system done. You probably saw there, I actually just went old school, back to the old method. I just used that hose and just pumped the brakes to bleed the system. I found that the squeezing the trigger on the little bleeder kit just wasn't wasn't working that well, and so I just went with the old way and tried to bleed the system as best I could. The brakes feel solid. We'll know more when we put it to the test, but I think we're good to go. Alright guys, brakes feel pretty good so far, just giving them a light touch and being able to stop for one. We're just going to take this thing for a test drive, kind of down the driveway and back. We're not fully road legal yet, but I do want to check these brakes and see how they do. Alright, let's do it. Alright, we're buckled in, let's go. Yep. Give them a brake test. Oh yeah, we got good brakes. I didn't slam on them too hard, but just wanting to test out here. We're gonna turn around here and go back down the driveway. Alright guys, it's been a long process to get to this point. I'm stoked that the brakes work. Before we get out and about too crazy with this car, we still do need to get a proper alignment on it, and it wouldn't hurt to do an oil change and just get some new fluids in there. This thing's been sitting for a long time. And so I want to give it a little freshen up and a tune up and a proper alignment, and then we'll put this thing to the test and get it out on the road and see what we can do. See if we can find some curvy roads and have some fun with this car. Alright, appreciate you guys watching. Until next time. How's it going? You want to ride? Hey buddy, what do you think? You like it? Don't get any ideas, it's not your car yet.